Yeah. And I love it in the book because you break down the 4 fears that we all experience. So I want to just give people three main fears.
Yes.
Failure, success, judgment. Three main fears. I want to just touch on them because I think that these top 3 fears are really well articulated, and I've experienced all of them. So I want to reflect on them myself too. So I remember when I was thinking about, like you said, so I'd been doing what I do today. I've been doing it now for 17 years, 7 years online, 10 years offline. And the 10 years that it was offline, there were no followers, there was no courses, there was no business aspect to it. It was just service, and it was me learning and me sharing my passion with 5 to 10 people that would show up, or 50 people that would show up. And when I finally realized that I wanted it to reach more people, and that was a internal calling I had, that I didn't want to live in a world where only 5 to 10 people had access to these ideas, because these ideas changed my life. And I felt, wait a minute, I met a monk. That's a very specific experience. Not everyone's going to go through something like that. So how do we speed that experience up for more people? I was scared of failure because I was looking at...
Why were you scared of failure?
Because I was looking at social media, and I was looking at content, and I was looking at things people were doing, and I was scared about what my friends would say.
Yes.
I was scared about me uploading something, it not getting views, it getting criticism, or getting like people in the comment section saying, oh, this is trash or whatever. And I was scared of failure. I was scared of no one's going to care, no one's going to watch, and it's not going to matter. And that probably lasted as I was researching, learning, and thinking for 2 years, where I felt like that before I actually...
You wanted to, but you didn't do it.
Exactly. I wanted to in my head. And often at those times, I find that's when you start becoming critical too. So you're kind of looking at what everyone else is doing, and you're finding holes in it because you think you could do it better, or you get kind of like that, and you realize that's not how you want to live either. And so I find often when we're the most inactive or stagnant, that's when we're the most critical 100%. Or judgmental of others who are doing something and trying their best. So I remember feeling...
No authors are writing negative reviews on other authors' books. It's just the people who've never written a book who's like, this was the worst book ever, right?
Yeah, and it's hard. And so I remember feeling that way, like where, I was starting to notice. I remember even years ago when my friends were really into music, and we'd be like laughing at the rapper on screen or like whoever it may be, and be like, oh, look, he thinks he's got rhymes and we could do better. And it's like, but that guy's actually gone and done it, right? That person's doing it. And so, let's talk about that. Because I think the fear of failure, and I love the way you put it into failure, and we'll talk about success and judgment. Fear of failure is the number one thing that blocks us from trying. And that's the part, right? It's not about stops us from succeeding. It stops us from trying.
I was trying to figure out what is the thing that holds us back. What are these fears? And it became clear to me that it was failure, success, and judgment. And I didn't understand failure and success personally, but I started to ask people and kind of brainstorm it and workshop it with people. Because for me, as an athlete growing up, I was conditioned that failure is a part of success.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if I wanted success, and the pathway there is failure. Like every day in practice, you fail. You make a mistake. You give the wrong pass. You turn the ball over. You drop the ball. You miss the shot. So I would watch Michael Jordan fail 100 times a game, but still win the game, or whatever it is. It's like miss a ton of shots. And it was never like the worst thing. It was like, I don't want to fail in my sport. I want to be perfect in every play, but I know that this is the path towards success. And it's how I get feedback to get better. So failure was feedback. It was information telling me what I needed to do to improve. So I understand that concept. Success, I also did not understand why people were afraid of success. But as I started touring and speaking and asking people, who here is afraid of failure? Most of the room would raise their hand at some point in their life, they're afraid of failure. And I'd say, how many of you are afraid of success? Thinking everyone wants this. So almost half the room would also raise their hand for success. And I go, but this is the thing people want. So if you want something you're afraid of, why would it come to you? Why would success come to you if you're afraid of it? Why would money come to you if you're afraid of it? Why would love come to you if you are afraid of it? So I never understood that concept. But as I started to talk to people and realize, Oh, actually, I get it, because the weight of gold can be so heavy for so many people. There's actually a documentary called Weight of Gold that is about Olympic gold medalists who go on to commit suicide afterwards, who go on to have extreme depression, mental health challenges, lose friendships, go bankrupt, all this stuff, because the pressure, once you succeed, to stay there, everyone expecting you to be a certain way, everyone expecting you to be perfect all the time, the perfect role model, everyone expecting you now to have money to just give to your friends and family, and not knowing who really cares about you for you versus your success. So, and also, it's just a weight that takes a lot of courage to be able to lean into and manage. And I think it's a skill set to understand and manage success. But that's something I always wanted. So I was like, bring it on, I'll take it. The fear for me that has been my kryptonite over the years was judgment and the need for other people to like me, and specifically to matters of the heart and intimacy. And that's why I kept repeating the pattern, because I wasn't afraid to enter a relationship. I wasn't afraid of that. I wasn't afraid of it doing well. I wanted it to do well, but I kept abandoning myself to try to please one person to accept and love me. I was terrified of the judgment. And that crippled me. It was a big, kryptonite in my entire existence until a couple of years ago. And that's the thing. We've got to identify which one of these fears holds us back the most. And again, in the book, I talk about kind of the process of uncovering and unpacking that so that you can have clarity and awareness. You talk about awareness is the key. Once you are aware and clear, then you can create a game plan on how to embrace it, overcome it, and make that fear and insecurity a superpower. Yeah. And I truly think we're just going to have something off inside of us. We're going to be unfulfilled. We're going to be frustrated, disconnected until we figure out what the fear is for us, and figuring out how to fully accept ourselves. At the center of all three of these fears is I'm not enough. I am not lovable enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not enough. And when we can finally get to a place where I say, I am enough, I can go back to all the different periods of my life that I'm not proud of, that I'm ashamed of, that I'm insecure about, that I hurt people, that other people hurt me, that I haven't forgiven. If I can go back and reconnect with those broken elements of my mindset from the past and create healing and wholeness, then I can accept and love myself today for where I'm at. And that's when everything changes.